because when we're in a cubicle in a toilet, for goodness
And so for that reason, why don't you understand?
Can I just say, another sodding man telling women about when we're safe and when we're not. We'll sodding well tell you when we're safe.
Julia Hartley-Brewer's brilliant use of the black woman analogy is the ultimate logic trap for woke activists, and Benjamin Butterworth walked right into it. The moment she applied the exact same rules of gender self-identification to race, his entire argument short-circuited. He was completely unable to explain why a white person claiming to be black is widely condemned as offensive, yet a biological male claiming to be a woman must be legally enforced and celebrated as progressive. This debate cuts to the very core of the gender identity culture war. As Hartley-Brewer rightly points out, the safety, privacy, and fundamental rights of women are being sacrificed on the altar of male feelings. Forcing female nurses in Darlington to undress in front of a biological male regardless of whatever legal paperwork or gender recognition certificate he holds is in progress. It's an authoritarian erasure of women's boundaries. Butterworth's desperate attempts to pivot to a 1950s trans pioneer, or his baseless claim that women's safety concerns are debunked nonsense, completely ignored the biological reality that women rely on to keep themselves safe in vulnerable, enclosed spaces. Ultimately, this clash proves that identity politics cannot survive contact with basic common sense. If objective biological reality can be overwritten by a piece of paper and a personal feeling, then words have lost all meaning. Hartley-Brewer refused to play by their distorted rules, and by doing so, she exposed the massive double standards propping up the entire woke agenda.
They're in the right, though, those Darlington nurses.
Well, look, I think where you measure this, you're giving me looks.
This is a yes or a no.
It's not.
This is why my audience shout at you when you're on the radio.
Look, I don't know what this person looks like, and if they claim,
no, I do. I've seen a picture of him. He's clearly a man. Because he is a man.
If they haven't had an operation, if they don't present as a woman, if they don't behave in that way,
what's behaving as a woman? Do I behave as a woman?
Well, looking like a woman is what I'm referring to.
They said it wouldn't make a difference. He was a man.
And I disagree. So if they've fully operated on and they've had a recognition certificate which legally changes what their sex is.
You can have a recognition certificate without having had an operation or even a single drug.
You can. Well, I don't know if you can.
Hang on.
You have to go through a 2-year process at least. No. And there are lots of assessments.
You can. No, gender recognition certificates. You don't even have to have taken a hormone blocker.
And it is. That is not how it works normally, and it's completely wrong to say that someone who is fully operated on, has had gender reassignment surgery, looks to everybody else as though they're a woman.
They don't ever look like that.
But that's complete nonsense. That's offensive nonsense.
What's offensive about it?
To say that you're talking about people you don't know, to say that they can never
I've
look
seen
like
enough
the gender they
pictures
assign.
of men who say that they think they're women, and I can always tell they're men.
But you can't. I mean, just the other day...
I hate to tell you, women have got a good instinct about this, biologically, for a very good reason.
Well, I mean, look, you're wrong. So, for example, there was a woman called April Ashley who had a gender reassignment surgery in the 1950s.
There was a man or a woman?
Well, they were. Is
he a man or a woman?
They were born male.
So he's a man.
They're now deceased.
So he's a man.
But they lived and had an operation for 60 years, their entire adult life almost. Now, are you telling me that late woman in her 80s should have been sent into the men's loos and that would keep her safe?
I'm very happy for there to be a cubicle that's just used by people who are confused about their identity. That's fine, but you don't take the women's loos.
Separate but not equal. Is that what you really think?
No, that's perfectly equal. It's just you don't get to be... The reason why women don't want men in their toilets because men are a threat to women in their toilet. We don't know which man is a threat. You can't tell because men who are sex offenders don't have "I'm a sex offender" written on their forehead, funnily enough.
Well, I'm sure you don't need telling. Men who are sex offenders don't need to pretend to be a woman. You know, Wayne Couzens put on a police uniform, not a dress.
Yeah, but he wasn't it. Yeah, but there are places where we are more vulnerable than others, and one of them is when we're changing down to our bra and knickers, or when we're in a cubicle in a toilet. For goodness
and so, for that reason, why don't you understand?
Can I just say, another sodding man telling women about when we're safe and when we're not. We'll sodding well tell you when we're safe. Thank you very bloody much.
Well, first of all, there are as many trans women as trans men. It goes in both directions, and you are not caring about those very vulnerable, tiny minority of people.
No, I don't actually. I care about women's rights.
Well, you said the quiet bit out loud, I think.
No, I didn't say the quiet bit out loud. I've been very clear about this. Because trans rights don't trump women's rights. Trans people have got the same. I'm very happy if they want to use the disabled bob, if it says disabled.
But they're not disabled.
No. If it says disabled and people confused about their gender identity. I don't care what it says. They can use whatever lose they want. They don't get to use my lose if they're born a man and they've got a penis. That full stop.
I mean, I think this is condescending, and also probably it's also probably illegal, because it may well it would out those people as being transgender in public by going to those toilets.
There
are plenty of trans people who look like the gender they identify.
They really are.
They are not safe by going into a men's toilet.
There aren't plenty of trans people, and B, there aren't very many who look like they're actually the gender they claim to be, which they aren't, because biologically, under the law, Supreme Court made that very clear, they are not that sex. End of. Nothing to discuss.
Well, the law says otherwise, in fact, because these people have legally changed their sex. If you have a gender recognition certificate,
I can have a piece of paper saying I'm a tortoise. It doesn't make me a sodding tortoise.
But you know full well that isn't the same case. Why do you think trans people exist in every culture, in every society, in every piece of history?
Can I get a piece? No, people who think that they're born in the wrong. They're not trans people. They're people who think they're born in the wrong.
Who are you to tell them how they know their lives?
But you're to tell me whether I'm safe in the toilet or not.
I'm not lecturing on women. I'm lecturing on transgender people standing up for them.
Can I get a piece of paper saying that I'm a black woman?
No, of course you can't.
That would be crazy. Being a black woman or being a white woman, there's less difference there than being a woman or being a man. But one of them is offensive and one of them is progressive.
Except that the centre of what you're saying is to assume that these people are somehow inventing it, that it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist that you can identify as having a broken leg.
They're not born in the wrong body.
Yes, they are. It does exist. That's why you have people that will describe this.
They may legitimately, honestly believe they're born in the wrong body, for which I have. It's body dysmorphia. We used to treat it as that. I've absolute sympathy. I want them to live their happiest life.
They don't want sympathy. They want their rights,
empathy.
and they want
their
equality,
right is that they can use the toilet that they are designated by birth.
Look, the fact is that there are plenty of people who look like the gender they identify as, who are fully operated on, and
they really aren't. You named one.
The idea. Well, I mean, I could name more if you wanted. There's a Garnier model called Paris.
Paris. No. Paris does not. Paris is clearly a man.
No, absolutely not. And the truth is that when these people have been fully operated on, fully legally changed their sex,
the vast majority of men who pretend that they are women do not have any. They've had no treatment whatsoever, and they are quite clearly fully intact males, as this man Rose Henderson was.
Well, I'm aware you only have half an hour left, and you probably.
I could do this for the next half an hour, mate, and I'd still be right the whole time.
Well, you'd still be wrong. I don't think we're going to persuade each other.
No, but I just find it extraordinary. A man can go, I've got a piece of paper saying I'm a woman, changing every aspect about their life, their body, but the pigmentation in your skin. I can't say to you, I identify as a black woman, because that's outrageous. Would you see how absurd and outrageous it is for a man to say, I'm a woman now?
What is absurd is for you to tell people who know themselves better than clearly you.
I know myself to be a black woman, Benjamin. How dare you tell me I'm not? How dare you tell me I'm not a black woman? I'm a black woman. If I believe I'm a black woman, then I'm a black woman.
Frankly, it would have no consequence on me whether you thought you were a black woman or not.
I'm pretty sure a lot of black people would be peeved for me to be claiming I've been oppressed all my life because I'm a black woman. You'd think that was outrageous, wouldn't you? And quite rightly.
I think denying the ability of tax-paying, decent, law-abiding people to go about their lives based on their gender identity, which is what transgender people face,
tax-paying, law-abiding nurses like the Darlington nurses who just want to be able to change without a man standing there in his boxer shorts calling himself Rose and saying, you're getting changed yet, in front of them?
You're saying that an 80-year-old woman who transitioned 60 years ago should be marched into the men's loos, and as if that would be normal or safe or reasonable. It would not.
Why would it not be safe for her to be her, she, he, him to be in the men's toilets?
Because that nobody would think that an old woman is a man and was born male. And they don't have male parts.
Is this trans person you're talking about a greater or less threat than the women who are in their bra and knickers in the changing room at their hospital when a man stands there in his boxer shorts?
A trans person is at greater risk. We know that they are targeted.
There's no evidence. Again, there's no evidence for that.
Is.
That's one of the absolutely debunked nonsense things that has been claimed. Absolute nonsense. I mean, honestly. Anyone want to come in and have a say? Give us a call. 0344
Maybe let transgender people call in, see if they agree with you.
They can call in. I've invited plenty. We've had trans guests. I've interviewed many trans guests. Lots of the trans activists don't come on. They know why they don't come on, because they're going to lose the debate. Let's talk to Nick, who is in London. He wants to get his...
Julia Hartley-Brewer's brilliant use of the black woman analogy is the ultimate logic trap for woke activists, and Benjamin Butterworth walked right into it. The moment she applied the exact same rules of gender self-identification to race, his entire argument short-circuited. He was completely unable to explain why a white person claiming to be black is widely condemned as offensive, yet a biological male claiming to be a woman must be legally enforced and celebrated as progressive. This debate cuts to the very core of the gender identity culture war. As Hartley-Brewer rightly points out, the safety, privacy, and fundamental rights of women are being sacrificed on the altar of male feelings. Forcing female nurses in Darlington to undress in front of a biological male, regardless of whatever legal paperwork or gender recognition certificate he holds, is in progress. It's an authoritarian erasure of women's boundaries. Butterworth's desperate attempts to pivot to a 1950s trans pioneer, or his baseless claim that women's safety concerns are debunked nonsense, completely ignored the biological reality that women rely on to keep themselves safe in vulnerable, enclosed spaces. Ultimately, this clash proves that identity politics cannot survive contact with basic common sense. If objective biological reality can be overwritten by a piece of paper and a personal feeling, then words have lost all meaning. Hartley-Brewer refused to play by their distorted rules, and by doing so, she exposed the massive double standards propping up the entire woke agenda.